We saw one of the worst crashes in Formula One history this season, and it was truly horrifying. Alfa Romeo driver Zhou Guanyu crashed during the British Grand Prix. His car flipped as another driver made contact with his car during the start of the race, and he admitted that he feared for his life. The rookie driver had no idea where he landed and if his car was going to catch fire. He's totally lucky to be safe, and it's all because of the new Formula One rules. We saw him roll through the gravel and launched over the tyre barriers. It was really scary. A few drivers stopped to check if he was alright, but no one was allowed to go near him at first for safety reasons. Eventually, Zhou recovered from the car with 0 scratches and no injuries. This is life-changing, especially for a rookie like him. When he faced the media for the first time after the race, he said he was blessed to be safe and that he's ready to race again. "I had a massive hit and flipped over, going to be at a very constant speed but quite fast into the gravel, and I realised that I'm not getting stopped." The race driver said that he immediately tried to release himself from the steering wheel and into a very locked position to make sure that he'll be safe during the final impact. "That's what causes injury and is the big issue," Zhou said. He noticed that it was already leaking in the car, so he quickly switched the engine off to avoid a fire, or else he wouldn't have gotten out of the car. Rescue took longer than usual because Zhou was in a difficult place and medical personnel weren't sure if they could reach him safely. George Russell of Mercedes, the driver who made contact with him, rushed out of his car and jumped to check if Zhou was fine. He even got there before the rescue team. George didn't think twice to leave the race to check on something he had caused. The Alfa Romeo driver said he could not hear the fans cheering, even though they were actually right beside him, and he was also not aware at the time that George had stopped his car and ran over to the tyre barriers to help. Zhou mentioned that one mate who made conversation with him to make sure he was okay, but he didn't know who it was because of what was happening. Looking at the pictures and seeing George jump out of the car, calling the marshals, it was very respectful and sportsmanlike. Very nice to see people like him trying to make sure everyone else is safe, he added. At these times, you really see who the drivers who really care about the sport and the people part of it. After all this happened, people are debating on whether the halo in the car saved his life or not. He personally thinks that it did save him, whilst all the controversy about the addition. A lot of fans think that his survival of the crash was a testament to the safety of modern cars. It truly is. Imagine the Alfa Romeo hit the barriers and then went off the track, but Zhou wasn't hurt at all. It wasn't hurting, but it was very cold on the left-hand side, so I didn't know if it was blood, and I wasn't feeling any more or something was the first thing he felt when the crash happened. The FIA is still investigating the incident, but for now, we know that the halo did a great job in protecting the driver. The part of the car was debated on for years, and it wouldn't have been put in all the cars if it wasn't pushed hard enough. Even Lewis Hamilton was among the drivers who opposed the halo when it was introduced in 2018, but was persuaded of its value by the late Charlie Whiting, the then FIA race director. Lewis had his own experience with the halo when he was protected by when Max Verstappen's car landed on top of him at Monza last year. Zhou Guanyu also realised that the halo saved his life. He immediately went on Twitter to let every Formula One fan know what had happened. If you roll back the clip of the accident, you can see that the top of Zhou's car hitting the tarmac was greater than is specified in the FIA safety tests. The car's roll hoop was destroyed by the crash, so he was literally sliding along the floor on the halo. The halo became mandatory on all Formula One cars to protect a driver's head in an open cockpit racing. It's a simple titanium hoop positioned above the driver's helmet, but see how life-changing it is to have that. It has proved remarkably effective and has protected drivers from serious injury and maybe even death. Even with the halo, safety concerns were still raised after Zhou's crash in Silverstone. This isn't the only time rules will change because of accidents. As with all accidents, the sport's governing decision-making body will conduct a full investigation into the incident to learn how to improve safety at future races. They surely don't want that to happen again. The catch fencing did its job properly by preventing the car from flying into the area near marshal posts, photographers and a grandstand full of Formula One fans. What a disaster that would have been if it wasn't there. Then you have the roll hoop. This one just sits behind the cockpit and it's designed to protect the driver in the event of a major accident, just like Zhou's. Thankfully, it is mandatory in all Formula One cars. Experts say that in theory, the roll hoop is designed so that when the car is inverted, it takes the brunt of any impact while leaving enough space to protect the driver's head. In the case of Silverstone 2022, the roll hoop on Zhou's car appeared to be ripped off after the accident, so all that was left to protect him was the halo. Sorry, how did that hoop pass crash tests in the first place? Thank God for that halo. Technically, this will trigger stricter rules for the rest of the season. This is what usually happens after a major crash. A few other crashes actually redefine the sport. Ayrton Senna's death in the 1994 San Marino Grand Prix led to the limiting of engine size and power and raised cockpit size to offer drivers more protection. Suspension of the cars also changed to prevent wheels from becoming disconnected. Then you have the 4-hour rule, where races held during the day should take place no less than 4 hours before sunset, due to Jules Bianchi's accident. We also have the barrier change after Romain Grosjean's crash in 2020, when he suffered minor burns and broken wrists after smashing through the safety barriers. So you see, they really do take these accidents seriously. Maybe whatever they invent after investigating Zhou Guanyu's car will also save the lives of other Formula One drivers in the future.